awakened souls with ancient scars. In a room where love and wisdom blend, we travel worlds on a celestial breeze,
All right. We
creating
are
lives we
live. We
hate
are
to
live. Greetings, greetings,
mend.
greetings. Dominique, let me just try to get things organized here a little bit, bring us into parity. See how that works. No, that didn't work. Let's try this one. Nope, that doesn't work either. There we go. There we go.
All right.
Oh, all right. All right. Thank you for joining me this evening. I'm really excited about this conversation that we're about to have.
Hey.
You know, why do men and women argue? I said I said earlier that the only thing, and I usually hate kind of narrowing down a topic because I think it can be applied to just the state of consciousness. Men and women in general arguing, but
Right.
I can only speak from my culture that I'm currently. I almost said imprisoned in. I can only speak of my culture that I'm currently incarnated in,
Okay.
and the dysfunction that seems to be prevalent in Black culture. So we're going to discuss that in a little bit detail. But I'm going to give an introduction to my community, which you are a part of, but to the greater community, the Conscious Collective. This is Dominique Edwards. She is, what do you say, the CEO, founder, originator? How would you describe your role at Feminine Health and Wellness?
Well, I would say I am the creator. I am the creator of feminine health and wellness. Um, Elegant creation. A lot of my people know me as elegant creation as well. As so, feminine health and wellness is a new channel. It's a new YouTube channel. I am a new YouTuber. Um, so this is all new to me.
Yeah, you know what? You just made me think about something really quick. I'm trying to see if I can put on there. But what does feminine health? Let's just give an introduction to feminine health and wellness before we start our topic, and that'll give me an opportunity to do something really quick.
Okay, okay. So basically, feminine health and wellness. Well, I did. I don't. I do have a few subscribers, so they are called um, Wellness Warriors. And
Okay.
so I address my community as Wellness Warriors. So Wellness Warriors is basically a community of basically feminine health and wellness, where we focus on holistic health, wellness, of course, nutritionist meals, home remedies, healthier lifestyle, boost your energy, and we just overall health and wellness.
Okay.
Overall health and wellness, basically, how to boost your feminine energy, how to boost your wellness, how to stay healthier. Pretty much that in a nutshell.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds good. All right. Well, I'm really excited about our topic. We do a lot of discussion offline, and now we decided let's bring these discussions um, online to
Yes.
the larger audience, and maybe get some feedback from them. But we go back and forth on certain things. So this topic is going to be our maiden topic, our new topic. If it goes well, we'll bring up more topics. But why do Black men and women argue so much? And I said earlier that I can only speak from my cultural reference. I do
Hmm.
think there's a lot of confusion and argument going on in the world, and it's actually harder for the sexes to kind of get along, and arguing is low vibrational, and that keeps you limited in your consciousness when you're in disagreement and arguing and in defensive mode. So that being said, I'm glad we have opportunity to speak to Dominique. She's an expert in two of these areas, one being a woman, all right, she can counter that point or disagree or agree as we go through this conversation. And the next thing
Right.
is she's a feminine health wellness expert for women. So she understands the different health issues. I don't even like to call them health issues. They're just
Mhm.
the normal issues of women as they progress through life that
Yes.
may affect um, the way they respond. And I'm trying to be polite here. The way they respond in reality and into different things and that we're
Okay.
going through. All right. So I don't know where you want to begin at. Where do you want to begin
Well,
at? No.
well, let's begin right there. Just that alone. I'm focusing on the feminine energy side of it, and I do know that it does involve different health issues when you, as a woman, when you're arguing back and forth, with your mate, with your significant other. Now, I guess we'll get to how do we resolve those issues, but I'm on the healthier side of it. Just arguing back and forth cause ailments and trauma, in the body. So I am, my focus is to, keep women healthier, you know, keep them balanced, teach them how to use their feminine energy and what feminine energy is, and to
Well,
stay in your feminine energy so you won't be, in a argumentative state or a stressed out state, I should say.
so let me ask you this: Are men wrong? Are we automatically wrong in the context when a lot of times men when they're dealing with a loved one or
Hmm.
someone they're involved with, and she seems to be um, snappy or in a disagreeable mood. Are men wrong with saying that? Oh, well, you must be on your cycle, or I know that's kind of taboo, and but are we wrong in that context? That's why I want to know, are we wrong in that context?
Well, I feel like in certain contexts, yes, because I think you should know or get to know your significant other so you know where she is. Like for me, the part of life or the chapter of life that I am in, perimenopausal. So, I mean, I know a lot of women can relate to, the things that my body is going through or our bodies are going through. The moods, sometimes swings. Everybody have different symptoms, and I feel like although your mate may not understand what it is that you're going through, I feel like he should be able to still support you in that throughout this life change. It's not something that we as women can change. It is something that is biological happening to our bodies, and
I
we
think
don't have any control over it.
greetings, Mary. No, I think you missed the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. What
Are
was the question?
men wrong for making that accusation? Not that that's what it is, but are men even wrong for suggesting that? Is it like when a man suggests that, is he like disregarding her in that sense, or does he have a valid point that if you are acting a certain way, he might say, "Oh, you must be on your menstrual cycle." Is that a negative thing to even say that?
Well, I mean, to a certain degree, but you have to know your mate. I mean, like I
But say
said, you
you
have
know
to
him.
know.
I know you know him. Say you
Oh,
know him, and you make that accusation. Will a woman get offended at it?
yes, yes.
Okay, so we're wrong to say that.
I mean, it could be a true statement.
I know it could be true. I know it could be true.
It could be
It
very
could be
true.
true,
I,
and it can
I don't
be.
like them. Yeah, go
It can
ahead.
be true, and sometimes it can be used just to just disregard what she's saying. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
you know, are we wrong for even broaching that in that way?
I think sometimes it is a disregard. Sometimes it's not. I think it just depends on the situation. Sometimes we are just moody And then sometimes it is you just got to know the situation, I guess. If you know your mate and your mate is going through that, I don't think you should use that and say she, she's acting like, whatever, she's moody, she's on her period, whatever. I mean, if you know your mate.
Well, I mean, I think that puts the onus back on the man to know them, and I think that's kind of
Oh,
unfair.
okay. So how would you? I mean, how? Okay, so we're speaking in terms of the mood and the way women are acting during this stages of life, or just in general.
No, well, I think I was just trying to see if that was politically incorrect to make that assumption. And I sometimes, like you said, men can be correct in it, and sometimes they can just be using it just to disregard whatever she's talking about. And
Mm.
I was just curious to can you say that sometimes?
Yeah, you can say it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can say it. But is it? I mean, it could be true or not. Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
Well, I think what we're talking about is why do men and women argue. I always go back to biology, being involved in the spiritual aspect to me, and it's always about the biology behind something, because that's how we really know God in our lives is through the physicality of our lives. And so I always
Hmm.
look at that biology of it, and so I was thinking that one of the things I thought about is that may be a point of contention sometimes in situations. You
Right.
know what I mean? I think you said earlier that the man should know his partner, um, and this just anecdotal experience. Just knowing that you're going through something wouldn't stop the argument, would it?
I think I think so. I mean, because if your partner is, even though he may not understand what you're going through, but if he just kind of support and I'm not going to say sympathize, but just kind of support you in this life change, because you're just, we're just as lost as he is, basically, because we don't know what our body is going through. It's just day by day. It could be something different every day. And so it is a life changing that we don't have. So I just think just communicating it and just having an understanding of what it
Well,
is.
I know your expertise is this life change, but I was speaking in general
Oh,
of women just during their cycle and
um,
their life and their chemicals and all their things
oh,
that
you
go
just
on with them. And even if they're pregnant, they have these moves and things like that. And I think that men should be aware of that. And a lot of
right.
men, give it space. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, like, should we even broach it or say it? And my experience is you can think it, but don't say it. You don't need to say everything in your mind. And I think that's the problem with the world now. Is you don't need to
Right.
say everything you're thinking about. I think that
Okay.
would be a big way of even if you understood her and you like, you come in there and you come in the kitchen and you say something, she bites your head off. You
Right.
you you know what's going on, and you don't have to aggravate the situation by
Right.
saying, "Oh, you must be on your period, or you must
Right.
be, going through menopause or something like that." That's just going to aggravate the situation.
I
So,
agree. I totally
so
agree. I mean, I don't know if that is something that, or I guess just from a male's perspective, are you guys trying to aggravate the situation, or you just being sarcastic? Or
Well, I mean, if we're going to get to the core of why do men and women argue so much, that is one of the things that can spark an argument, can
right.
start an argument, and if we have an understanding that
Mm-hmm.
maybe on the man's side, I want to look at it from two sides. I want to
Okay.
say first, the woman needs to recognize that she's is being a little different, whether
Okay.
whether it's through her cycle or through menopause. She has to have that understanding, and then the man has to have the understanding too. It's like almost a double lock, a
Mhm.
two tier responsibility. that
Right.
if he does get a snappy response, he can just step back and say, you know what I mean? He don't have to
Right.
say everything
Yes.
in his mind. And I think
Yes.
that would alleviate at least that part of argument between men and women in general, is to have a better
Right.
understanding of
Standing.
oneself and a better understanding of the other person. So spiritually, again, it is seeing it from their point of view,
You.
right? And also
Mm-hmm.
your own self-control.
Right, right, and I do agree, and I just having that understanding, and I feel like
Yeah.
communication, just being able to communicate back and forth. Now, I'm not sure, far as just regular everyday, mood swings and stuff like that. Within reason, I think women should, have some type of emotional self control. But in certain situations, we are unable to, especially during this stage in our lives. I don't think,
No
now.
self-control. Because I was going to ask you, I mean, your teas, they don't offer self-control. I mean self-control.
Yeah.
You can't go kill somebody, I'm menopausal. You know what I'm saying?
Some people say,
That's
I'm
not
gonna
going to fly.
pause and I'm gonna kill somebody. I'm
That's
killing
not going to
somebody
fly.
today.
You
That
have
ain't
to
gonna
have some
fly.
self-control. I'm wondering, as you knowing these herbs, do they allow women to manage not only their physical condition but their emotional conditions too?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yes, that's why those hormones get, raging and get off. My teas can, reduce those symptoms of that hormone imbalance. It
Hmm.
kind of gets your hormones balanced. It reduces those snappy moves, hot flashes, mood swings, and different things like that. Even being tired, every woman. We're not going to say every woman doing this cycle, doing their menstrual cycle, or doing their life changing menopause have an attitude. Everybody has different things. Some women have body aches. They ache down to the bone. So some women have hot flashes only. Some women, just have joint aches. So everybody is experiencing something differently. So it's not always that mood swing change and stuff like that. That is just one of those known symptoms that that's kind of shown in some certain situations.
Yeah.
But
Well,
my teas that out.
let's broaden the subject out a little bit,
Okay.
to why men and women argue in general. I think that
Mhm.
was a very good place to start,
Okay.
for that those biological reasons why men and women argue.
Mhm.
But I think there's also societal reasons as a whole that I really want to kind of explore a little bit of why we're dysfunctional, especially as Black people.
Right.
Why,
In the Black community. Right.
yeah, why we seem to not be able to get along with each other. And I was thinking about this before we came on, and I'll get your
Yes, sir.
input on it. Is that it has a lot to do with expectations.
Okay, I have someone saying that we're having technical difficulties. Uh, I'm not sure how. I'm
How
sorry.
they, how they was
How?
there? Wait a minute, we're going through
Um,
my chat. I haven't seen anything but Mary said hello. How do they know we're having technical difficulties?
they on. They're on the live. It's another lady friend of
Tell
mine.
her say something in the chat, because
Yeah, say
how does she
something in the
communicate with you?
chat. By via phone.
Oh, well, tell her say something in the chat because
Yeah, chat, Linda. Oh, I think she clicked on the other link. That's probably what she's talking about. But you took that link down, right?
oh, I did not take that link down. Give me a second.
Oh,
Oh man, rank,
okay.
as my son say, rank amateurs. Rank. He says rank amateur. Hold
Okay, she
on.
says she's holding in the old one.
I'll tell her I apologize. No, that link is no good. Let's see. I created a new one when we had a problem.
Okay. Um, okay, I'll send her the new link that where we are.
All right. It should say live on the one that we're on. But let me get rid of that one.
Okay. I don't know how many. It looks like about. Let me share.
The whole audience is somewhere else, huh?
Yes. It looks like a lot of people over there in that one. Let's we're gonna
We
get
were,
it right.
hey, wait a minute. Let me hold on. Let me
We're
come
gonna
back
get
to
it
you
right.
right there. You know,
Okay.
we were actually cooking,
Right. We're cooking one.
and the whole audience, the whole audience is in another restaurant while we cooking. Oh,
So
Mary, I'm
we
sorry.
had two links
That
up,
was on
guys.
me. I
Sorry
had
about
another
that.
link up, and when we couldn't get that link to work, I put another link on. But I think everyone was on that other link,
Other link. Right.
and so I
She's
forgot to
in there
delete it
waiting in the
off.
waiting room. She's in the waiting room waiting.
Why would she be in the
Yeah.
waiting room?
Because she was at the other link. She said, I'm sitting here waiting and nobody's came on yet.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant she was on
Okay.
deck. Okay. Well,
No, okay.
I apologize again. We started a new live, and I guess everyone was on the old live, and so you missed. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to. We got a lot to talk about. So,
Yes, we
all
do.
right. So me and
All right.
Dominique are talking about. We were talking about the biological part of women and men at this point in their life, and what may start arguments. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're gonna have to recap that. We were just cooking. You guys gonna have to rewind it because we were cooking, and so and so we're with Dominique, and she's the founder of um, Feminine Health and Wellness, and we want to
Mhm.
welcome the Conscious Collective and the warrior, the Wellness Warriors.
Wellness warriors. I'm sorry.
Yeah, from Dominique's. She has a new channel. The link is in the bio. And we're talking about why men and women argue. And we were talking shortly or briefly about the women going through menopause. And we'll recap real quick about how men understanding that and women understanding that can actually be doesn't have to be a point of contention.
Right.
I said earlier that men don't have to say everything on their mind. If you get snapped at, you go in there and you talk to your significant partner, and she seems short or
Right.
irritated because you ask, "Is this glass clean?"
Know that she's not crazy. She's not crazy.
Or
She's
something
not.
seems out of the ordinary, then
Right.
you, as a man, should actually be aware and not say in your head, "Oh, she's on her cycle," or I mean, you can
Right.
say it in your head, but you don't have to say it out loud. I think part of our society is everyone thinks they have to say everything, and I wish some people
Right.
stop talking. It's too much information, things that people don't care about, don't know, and we feel like we have to
Right.
share everything with everyone. But in this instance, it can actually prevent an argument. So that's what we
Mhm.
was talking about earlier. But we want to talk about the broader reason why men and women argue.
Mhm.
And I said earlier that it was expectations. I kind of
Mhm.
boiled it down to expectations. Everyone on either side, in my opinion, has unrealistic expectations of the other
Mm.
sex. And I say unrealistic
Okay.
because they don't, people have a hard time moving out of their ego and what they want, as opposed to kind of judging the whole situation, right?
Right. Mhm.
Men want traditional women.
Correct.
And as you said yesterday, but then they also want you to work. So,
Right.
you
I'm
know
not
what I
sure.
mean? So those are oxymorons. Because if she's working, she may be succeeding in her work, and maybe she's a boss. And
Mhm.
then you want her to leave that boss at the door and
Yes.
then go into submissive role and get your
Yes.
meal ready. So I think
Mhm.
the man's expectation is skewed on that part. And
Okay.
I'm gonna just say the women, and I'll let you expound on that. But I think the women expectation is they want certain things without understanding, as we were saying yesterday, that a lot of times women were going 50-50, 70-50, but not in money.
Right. So
They were
yeah,
going
we
in
talk.
how they took care of the household.
So, we talked about that and, our perspective on that 50-50.
Right.
And I did. Okay. So I don't, I don't rock with the 50-50, but let me explain. The 50-50, I come from old school. I'm old school. Men take care of the house, not the house, but men take care of the house financially, and women um, basically take care of the home and the kids, right? So I've never experienced this new age 50-50. However, it's going on. I understand why, to a degree, because we talked about, yes, the other day we talked about the economy. The economy that we live in now is totally different from when I was, married and younger, right? And so, just like we was talking about before, it was it was it was 50-50, but like we discussed, it wasn't said, it was just done. You know what I mean? So we, as a mom, a wife, or whatever, I cook, I clean. My ex, he paid the bills. So it was like it was more so like, working together, so to speak. So now they call it, I guess, 50-50. Am I correct?
Well, I think I think it's a misnomer, or it's a misunderstood statement,
Okay.
even by the people who saying it. You know how they had the
Okay.
statement defund the police? They didn't
Yeah.
mean defund the police. They meant put the resources in better ways in policing. But people
Okay.
ran and say, "Oh, defund the police," and that's nobody. You need a cop. All right, when Jimbo come, or Rocky come banging on your
Right.
door, you want some protection. You don't want no be
Yeah.
thinking about no defunding. So I think it's a
Okay.
misnomer when they say that. When they say 50-50, I think people run with that. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think I mentioned to you yesterday, women have a lot of value in the
Mm-hmm.
time we grew up, right?
Yes.
They brought
Right.
a lot to the table,
Mm-hmm.
more than 50-50. But what they
Correct.
brought wasn't normally counted as money.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? The
Right.
housekeeping, the caring for children, the caring. We said, remember, women used to iron men's shirts. You found a woman to iron your shirt, you went back in time somewhere. You need to check your calendar. But women used to iron shirts. I don't even think people have
Right.
ironing boards anymore. But
Right.
women used to iron the shirt, get ready. So all that was the 50 to 60%,
Right.
right? And so when a young man is looking at a woman now and he's saying 50-50, he knows she can't cook. He knows she can't clean. He knows she smells like onion rings.
That's not
My point is,
right.
she's not bringing that non-intrinsic value anymore. You
Okay.
see? So he's
Mm-hmm.
like, I need you to bring some money now and then, because you're not bringing that other value. I said yesterday that men were really getting over maybe 20, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
woman was bringing more than 50%.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? She was bringing
Absolutely.
about 70, 80%. If you added up all the things she did and kind of quantified them monetarily,
Mm-hmm.
you would see they
Mm-hmm.
would be worth a lot more than that
Right.
50% of dollars. But I think men are saying, I don't see any other value in this except money. And I think that's what
Mm.
people say. Well, he mean 50-50. Well, you don't have nothing else, because you still want him to defend the house, to offer
Okay.
protection. Along with
Mm-hmm.
bringing in money, you want him to protect you. You want him to take out the garbage, whatever it is that you pass the money part, you still want him to do. You
Right.
see? And so I think a lot of times they say 50-50, but I think it's a misnomer, really. To what they really want to say is, a lot of these women, especially the younger ones, are actually not bringing anything else to the table except money. And then, a lot of times women will say, well, what about sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
The artificial reason diamonds are valuable is because they're artificially scarce.
Right.
Scarcity equals value. That's just a law of biology, a law of commerce, a law of any. That's just a law.
Right.
Scarcity makes it more valuable. When you flood the market with anything, it lowers the value of it. So the
Okay.
little poo poo that would have had a lot of value, you know what I mean, back in the
Yeah. I
day,
but right. But I
doesn't
think
have that value now.
right. So I'm going to speak on, perspective of women. I mean, like women in my age, there are still women in my age that do that I guess traditional or whatever. I don't like these labels or these new labels that they put on things these days. But however, we're going to use traditional. And even now in this day and time, women are doing that, but they also work. They're working. They're still doing the roles of back when my grandmother, and my mom was young women and raising me or raising, us at that time. They did those roles. But even during my time as, a young woman in my 20s and 30s, I still adapted those traditional roles. But I had like a combination of either or. I worked sometimes and sometimes I didn't work, but it wasn't a must. It wasn't a must. So I guess when you are looking at today's women, I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know too many. They don't bring anything to the table. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They keep, filthy homes and different things like that. So I'm not sure, I don't know. If I had a son, I would just say, that's not the woman for you. But however, I don't know how they, how would they, I guess, equate money with the value of, you know what I mean? With the value of what you can't do.
Can you see the
Okay, go
chat?
ahead. I can.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I there's two different points I want to make. One is, like I said, men early don't have to say everything on their mind, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the second thing is, I don't think every conversation, at least in my sense, every
Yeah.
conversation involves me. You know what I mean? I think
Uh-huh.
I don't know any men around my age that are asking decent women around your age 50-50.
No,
I don't I don't think
no.
that's our
They already
conversation.
know we're not going to do
I
that.
know.
Well,
And I don't think because I don't think that's our conversation. I'm
right.
speaking of my son's age in that group, right?
Right.
I'm just commenting on their conversation. And no grown man my age, unless he's dealing with someone outside of his age, younger,
Yes.
he might
Right.
say 50-50, but he's not asking someone in his age group fifty
Right.
fifty. You know
And
what I'm
if he
saying?
is, it's not outwardly said in that manner,
But
you
but I'm
know.
saying he's not saying that because he knows his role, and then
Mm-hmm.
he knows the role he expects. She knows her role, and she
Correct.
knows the role she expects.
Right.
So that's a conversation our age group is not having. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying from a younger point where they're not seeing that in their women that they're in their age group, they're then saying 50-50 to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because even
Yeah.
in our age group, we're at the point that you don't really have to speak on helping.
Correct. It's
You
not.
know what
It's
I'm
on. It's
saying?
an unspoken thing. Yeah.
If she's a decent woman, been with you for a while, she knows what's going on, and she'll tell you,
Mm-hmm.
I got something saved away, or let me take this off your hands, for a minute, you
Right.
know, and then so that we don't
Mm-hmm.
have to have those conversations. I'm saying for people that are having these conversations, I think
Mm-hmm.
they're it's a misnomer of what they're saying,
Right.
because if these women, and it's not a slam on these women, but we got to admit we can both agree that these ain't the same women that you were or that
Mm-hmm.
Mary were or anyone.
Mm-hmm.
These are a whole new breed here.
A whole
We
new
can talk
breed of
about how
women.
these men are
A
smaller.
whole new breed of men too.
Well, that's a whole. They're smaller. They more emotional. They more feminine in a lot of ways, and I don't mean
Mm-hmm.
in the good feminine ways, the bad feminine ways. You know,
Right. So let's
and
answer the chat.
so
I'm
we
sorry.
we we can say that they're saying to them,
Right.
you don't have that value that I think that Unc had. Okay.
Yes.
Somebody called
Yes.
me Unc. I don't know if I need to be offended or what.
Which one is Unc or Papa?
Well, only my kids, my grandkids can call me Papa, but somebody
Okay.
called me Uncle online, like, "Hey, Uncle, how you doing?" Y'all need to stop making up words because I don't know how I feel about it yet. You know,
You ain't ready for that.
I don't know. I don't know. We call them YNs or youngins, and they like, "Hey, Uncle." I guess that's better than, Baba means father or Mister.
Right.
So I don't know. I got to
Okay.
see where they come down on that. But
Right.
they know these women ain't bringing nothing. So they say, okay, well, I'm going to need that money. I'm going to need you to bring 50-50, right? I'm going to need you to bring that.
Mhm.
I think that's where that context come in at. And then on
You
the other
think
end, you got these
that's
women
why? I'm sorry.
who are
Do
not
you
even
think
trying.
that's
I'm
why?
sorry, go ahead.
I said, do you think that's why these I guess new age guys are asking women to go, they're this whole rhetoric about 50-50? Do you think that's the reason why?
I firmly believe they don't see nothing but monetary. Just like, look, everything's transactional nowadays. Everything's
Mm,
transactional. Women see men as money, and men see women as money. They don't see anything past that, you know, except how you can help me with these bills. And both sides are looking at how they can help each other. Uh,
mm-hmm.
because you think about it, right? When you ask, if they ask a young woman, well, what do you bring to the table? Which is another statement they always make. And she says, I am the table. What the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? That doesn't mean anything, you know?
But you know what that mean when it comes to our generation. If somebody if it's said from our perspective, you would know what that mean, right?
I wouldn't think I would never hear from our perspective. Like I said,
No,
those conversations
we
don't
don't
happen
have.
in our circle. I would never hear that. I never heard a man my age talking about what she bring to the table. I never heard that from somebody who especially who's got their money right, retired.
Right.
They doing okay. They own a
Yeah.
couple of properties. They not thinking what you bring to the table. You know what I mean? You
That's
know,
not a discussion.
unless she said, unless she said, I'm bringing these mashed potatoes and peas and steak to the table. That's what I'm bringing. And he like, oh, okay, I got you. I got you. You know. So I don't think a lot of these conversations are not about certain people. Just
Right.
like you may have other races look at what blacks do and they don't understand because it's not
Right.
about them. They're very confused about it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they can't understand it. And I look at that too in our generation. Being Generation X, a lot of things I just don't understand. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, that's
it's
why I said I
it
don't.
just don't pertain. It doesn't pertain to me in that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm gonna deal with somebody outside of my age group, then maybe I'll be like, you got to. But I'm gonna tell you a story of a person I know really quick, and
But
that's why
hold
you
on,
should never.
hold on one second. Let's answer the chat or the comment. I don't know if it's a question or not. Hmm.
You done?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
You want to address it, or you want me to address it?
I don't know if there's anything to address. You can address if you
Yeah.
want.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, we do. At this day and time, that's what we're saying, the difference in how we as generational X grew up, in relationships and stuff like that versus now. And that's what we're going to get to, the two or three incomes that is needed now in this upcoming generation. And that's the only way. And how do we think or feel that they should be, working together in a household, in a relationship? Because we could speak on all day, how we as generation X grew up and what we're used to, but how do they, this generation figure it out?
Well,
I
I
guess.
mean, and I guess my point of view is like the story I was about to tell you is that
Mhm.
you can't really ask a woman what she bring to the table. It just doesn't make any sense to me because I give you a case in point, right? And I'm not gonna mention no names, right?
Mhm.
I had someone very close to me wanted to borrow some money to pay their rent, and I knew they were living with a couple of women, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
And I said, well, why do you have to pay the rent? And he's like, well, they got their share. I don't have mine. I said, man, you got two women. You a pimp. Pimps don't have a share. They
What?
pimps wouldn't have a share. You know what I mean? But I said, hey, what do you do when she ain't got it? You know what I'm saying? You say let's
Yeah,
go 50-50, and then she tell you she ain't got it.
right.
What do you do then? That's why I don't get into that, because if she
Yeah, and we
says she
talked
ain't
about
got it,
that. We talked about that last night or
right?
yesterday.
If
Uh,
she says she ain't got it, what do you do then?
right.
Don't look. Bad choices lead to bad choices. Don't go
Mhm.
down that road, because when you get to that road and she says she ain't got it, what do you do then?
Right.
What do you do then? You gonna sit there and argue and do what? You're not gonna get
Right.
violent. What are you gonna do? So you might as
Mhm.
well just handle the business and just make sure you make choices on
Right.
someone else's handling their business. But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, you gonna get, and this person got put out after I helped them out. They still got put out because that person that they had, one left and the other one said they ain't have it, and they all got
Right.
put out. I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. You know,
Right.
I don't want. I'm just not gonna put myself. I'm gonna make sure that I can handle as much as I can handle, and those
Mhm.
things I can't handle, I'm gonna remove from my plate,
Mhm.
because I
Okay.
can't. And maybe that's just my lack of confidence or secure or or what do they call it when you don't trust people? Um,
Um. No. When you don't trust somebody else, insecurity
yeah,
or lack of
insecurity.
confidence.
Maybe it's just my insecurity where I need to
Mhm.
know that
Right.
everything's taken care of, A, B, C, and D, and
Right.
I can't wait to figure out what you're doing.
So how do you think that with this, that because there's a lot of rhetoric and the arguing going back and forth about this 50-50 and who does this and how do you think that we as in the Black community could handle that, and how do we as I guess you could say as the older generation kind of teach them what is it that they should be doing, because
Well,
always an argument and everybody's always bumping heads about this.
I can only go back to my spiritual teachings and my spiritual knowledge. Work on yourself.
Hmm.
If men were actually working on themselves, they're not worried about no one else.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
women are working on themselves, they're not worried about the man. And both
Hmm.
people can come together without being dependent, but interdependent on each other, not dependent. See, now we're in a society where you're dependent on people, but when
Right.
you get to be interdependent, which means
Right.
I'm constantly improving myself, trying to be the best version of me,
Hmm.
and she's like, I'm trying to be the best version of myself, then you can come together more effectively. But if you come in,
Okay.
each partner coming with something they need from the other, they're gonna always be disappointed.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, they're gonna always lack something because they're looking for that other person to fulfill that. And for women, I think a lot of people are out of their spaces.
What do you mean?
Women have been brought into society, into the workforce. That's not where they have their strengths at. You
Hmm.
should always play to your strengths. A woman's
Hmm.
strength is not in the workforce. Her strength mainly is in being a woman.
Okay.
Like a
So what do
man's
you?
strength is being a man. Anytime you have men playing outside of their strengths,
Hmm.
they're gonna always lose.
So what do you mean by that's not her strength? I mean, far as in the workplace, what do you mean by that?
Well, I've seen a lot of women who just are they a man will work a job, a real man, and I hate to say real man, but traditional men or I've seen men. Let's say I've seen men.
Right.
They
All
may work a
right.
job 20, 25 years.
Okay.
Now I had an uncle, you know, LC, he was hell on wheels, but he worked his job. I don't know what his history was, but he didn't miss a day of work. And he told the
Mm-hmm.
man at the end of the day, he said, well, the man said, I need a janitor. He said, well, I can clean up after I leave here. And the man paid him
Right.
for that. And you know what
Right.
his job was? I said, Elsie,
Mm.
what do you do? He said, I
Right.
cut paper. I said, what you mean you cut paper? He said, it comes off on that roll, right?
Right.
That long, big roll. And he went past and cut it at the end. I said, Elsie, they get a robot to do that. They get a whole machine to do that. But that's what he did. He cut the paper at the
Right.
end. He
Right.
did that for 20, 25 years. And I've seen men who won't say a word about it.
Right.
They won't say a word about it. Elsie used to come home and he used to drink old granddad. At the end of the day, he drank old granddad. And he gave me a sip of that old granddad when I used to drink.
Uh-huh.
And that's rocket fuel. I told him, Elsie, they putting that in the shuttlecraft. That's just pure rocket fuel. 110 proof. Okay? I was like, I said, he had his finger in it. He used to drink it out of a jelly jar. You know how they used to do? He used to drink it out of a jelly jar.
Mason
And
jar.
I said, your finger touch that's going to burn the skin off your finger, man. And he used to drink that. And that was
Right.
just at the end of the day. He'd drink, sit there and watch the game or watch TV. Then he'd go roll in bed. And he did that for 20, 25 years. I'm saying most women are not comfortable doing that.
No, we're not working that long. We don't want to work like that.
They don't want to work like that. That was the pinnacle of LC's life there. And I know it's hard for people to understand that, but he was satisfied and happy.
Wow.
He bought a building. He moved his sister, my grandmother, upstairs. Right? And he made his way through life. Put his kids through school. He was happy. Right?
Mm.
Most women are not, that's not what they want. And that's my opinion. Maybe you can tell me the difference. I don't think a woman wants to be slinging a garbage truck pail every day of the week and slinging garbage. They do it.
I mean, okay. So when I speak from a woman perspective, we do it only because we have to.
That's my point.
I don't know too
it's
many
not
women
their strength. They doing it because they have to, but it's not their strength.
Want to work every day, want to work, we will work, for a certain period in our life. And after that, we don't want to do that no more. We tired. Our body is not designed for that. We don't want to do that. We want to do something else. We'll spend time with the grandkids, stay at home, relax. We just tired. We don't want to do that.
And that's what I was thinking about them. I think everything in this society is detrimental to our culture.
Yes.
Okay. I look at how the crack epidemic, well, we go before that, how welfare destroyed Black communities, how the crack epidemic destroyed Black communities. And then you have this boss babe mentality or a feminist movement that encouraged women to go to work, even though it was against what they wanted to do. They were convinced that you'll be powerful and strong if you got your own money. You don't need nobody, right? And I think all of that has been detrimental to the Black community in that the expectations were skewed by what men wanted and by what women wanted.
Yeah,
and
to a certain degree, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, to a certain degree, I would say, like I said, I don't think. Well, let's put it like this. First of all, the feminist movement was never for Black women anyway.
Right.
That part.
Exactly.
However, we have never. I don't remember. Maybe in my grandmother's time or whatever, as they call it now, the South life. I don't remember, even my mom, she had a certain period in her life, she had to go back to work. But even in my generation in time, I don't know what that is, the soft life or whatever that means. We always, as Black women, even if we had to work from Miss Ann down the street, we always had to work. It doesn't even sound right. That we had an opportunity to stay at home 100% of the time, like most of our other, races.
Well, again, that's another misnomer. I don't know what that means, the soft life. What does that mean? I think it's another marketing tool another marketing tool to confuse
Right.
people, you know.
Right.
And my bigger point is we seem to take it hook, line, and sinker. Where
Right.
you have other cultures who might nibble around the edges, we tend to take
Mm-hmm.
everything detrimental to our culture and we swallow it full whole. You know what I mean? Like, you know, with the
Mm-hmm.
crack epidemic, why were we so susceptible to it?
Right.
You know, to when we talking about warfare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why were we so susceptible to it, right? You got others, like I look at these Hispanics and I see that they don't immediately go outside of their system for any
Right.
help,
Right.
you know?
They stay
In a
with that
lot of ways,
narrative.
and we adopt all these things and we become crippled by them in the long run.
So
So
why do you
now we
think?
have this battle before between the sexes because
Mm-hmm.
of our false expectation set by the culture that we live in.
Do you? Is it set by the culture? Or is it set by the
Oh, you're right. The society is set
right
by our
society?
society
Right.
and it affects our culture. I misspoke. It
Right.
is
Right. Right.
by the society that we live in. It deteriorates our actual culture. And I
Mm-hmm.
just wonder why we're so susceptible to it all the time. And then any new thing, shiny thing, we just jump on board. And then 10, 15 years, 20 years down the line, we destroyed.
Mm.
We in shambles. And I'm just curious about why we always jumping for something that goes against our very nature.
Mm.
Like
I
our men
right.
used to be. You see them down south on the farm. You know, 6'2", 6'3" was the norm.
Right.
Was the norm. Muscles
Yeah.
racked, just big black, just was the norm. All of them, just the norm. And
Right.
then you go 30 years later, and I'm looking at these young boys. Yeah, they gotta carry a gun because they can't fight. They can't do anything. They
So
weigh
this is
about. I
small and
mean,
petite.
it ain't a
Right.
buck 50 no more. It's
Right.
75 cents.
Right.
And
I don't know.
you remember in the 1960s where you would see a picture or a guy, he would have sideburns.
Right.
He would have whole sideburns, and you would say, "How old is he?" He'd be like, "I'm 18." What
Already looking
happened?
like an
He
old
look a
man.
whole 30.
Right.
He like,
Right.
so what happened? Why you don't see that anymore? You
No.
don't see that anymore. And they had on sideburns, whole natural, and you be like, and you be graduating from high school. How old are you, boy?
And he's still
So,
a boy.
that shows that there's been some type of manipulation, some kind of way
Right.
in our makeup. Because them
Right.
they were looking like they were 30, 35. I swear to God. Them bell bottom pants on. I'm like, man, like I'm 17, I'm 18. You don't see men like that anymore. What
No.
I don't have any, I have very little hair. So it's
Right.
just some type of manipulation in it. And now you look at the next generation. My son, he's a good height, he's good size. But the next generation around his age, these guys are whisk thin. I mean, very, very thin.
Short
Very
too.
thin. I know
Short.
men talk about how women are gaining, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but no
Mm-hmm.
one's noticing how men are
That
getting
men.
smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
it's
absolutely true.
hard to be masculine when you don't look masculine. I don't mean to offend nobody, but you can't really stand on something if you ain't got enough weight to stand on it. You know what I'm saying? And if she's
Yeah.
oversized and you try to lay down some law, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
What think she gonna do with these things? She nobody gonna see.
You're gonna push right past him. Right past him. But another thing is that women, they biologically are attracted, just naturally attracted to masculine men.
Right.
It's just in the biological makeup of them that
Mm-hmm.
they are attracted to. A lot of women are attracted to masculine men, right? And I was
Right.
looking at this one video, and the girl said, "Well, I like my men masculine," but she twisted it, and she liked the thugs, and the thugs are only play acting.
Mm-hmm.
We seen
What do
from
you mean?
24 Hours, they fold like cars. You know that show 24
Oh
Hours?
yeah. Oh yeah. No, 48 hours.
48 Hours. what they are. They fold like cars.
Telling on
They
everybody,
doing all
right?
that huffing and puffing, and they get in that room and
They're
they
crying.
telling on everybody. So she's
So that
attracted to what she think,
is
a
massive.
cosplay masculine man
Hmm.
is. Or
Right.
we say we're gonna watch out for this subject, or a woman who's cosplaying as a
Hmm.
man.
Yeah, we said
You
we're
know,
gonna.
they walking
Yes.
around with the white beaters on and strapping down the things and trying to act
Hmm.
hard. And the woman's attracted to that because women are by natural nature attracted to masculine energy.
Masculinity. Right.
Yeah, that's going to always be the case. But getting back to what you said, what can we do about it?
Yes.
I think everyone needs to focus on their own development,
Hmm.
and from that we become interdependent on each other, not dependent, but interdependent on each other when we're working on ourselves. At least that's where I look at it from a spiritual point of view.
Well, I would kind of agree with that this day and time because I want to say back in the day we was more dependent on men, versus being interdependent, in this situation because of the economy and the cost, just the cost of living. You basically everybody's going to need some type of roommate, a man, or something, because nobody's going to be able to do it by themselves after a while because the economy is constantly going up every day.
Well, again, that means that you're dependent. Back when, I'm going to say 10, 15, 20 years ago, people
Hmm.
were independent on each other. They were with each other, but they all brought something with them. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
But this
Women
day and
brought,
time,
huh?
right. But you saying like this day and time, majority of the young people make a lot of money. They come out the back making a lot of money. So do you think that, both parties are making more money these days versus back then?
I always thought money's relative. I always thought it was relative, right? You say that they
Hmm.
making more money, but they got more expensive. Apparently, they're not making enough money. See, look how the system lies. They say these young people are making more money, but none of them, they sell you in a minute, they can't buy a house. So
Right.
how could that be possible when you made less money 30 years ago and bought
Mhm.
houses?
Right.
So it's all just a shuffle, a lie. They're like, well, we paying them extremely well, but they still can't afford the basic needs of life. They got
Hmm.
more people homeless with 2, 3 jobs, right?
Right.
So
Hmm.
how was it possible that you were making less money and then you were buying a house 25 greetings, Nicole, greetings. You were
I
buying a
know.
house at $25,000
Hmm.
for a beautiful bungalow house.
Right.
I saw this video in 1960. They were buying bungalow houses for $25,000.
Hmm. They was
So when people
pretty.
say they're making more money, it's all relative. It's all
Right.
relative. I think they're making less money because they have more
The economy,
expenses.
expenses in the economy. Right.
Yeah,
It just
I
look like
mean,
it's more, but it's really not more.
it's not more when you paying. Like I told you, my brother told me, you need a new phone. Remember we was joking about me having a new
Yes.
phone, and he said you need a new phone. You know what I'm talking when it clicks out, the conversation over with. I don't need no new phone. That's the universe telling me it's done. All right, we through talking. I can barely hear you. Well, I'll talk to you later. Then I don't have to
That's
go
right.
buy no 1,500. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? $2,000 phone. That's crazy. But the people they say are paying, they're giving a lot of money to, they have
Hmm.
these expenses, and that's why they can't get anything out of life. You
Right.
know, my son and his partner, they DoorDash all day long, and when you calculate how much money they spending, it's
Right.
way more than if you went to the grocery store and just cook. But she can't cook; he can only cook a few things, and so yeah, they both got great jobs, making a lot of money, but they can't afford anything.
Ain't
So it's all
nobody can.
relative. I every time the system says look left, I look right.
Right.
Every
So
time they say this, because you got homes, they already admitted that we're probably the last generation that gonna buy homes at the level we bought them at.
right.
You
Yeah,
know?
because I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were saying I don't think that our kids will ever be able to buy a home because of the economy and how expensive it is right now.
Yeah. And you say
Hmm.
they're making more money.
Yes.
So how's that? I could, if they make more money, I'd be doing much better. But that's not the case now. That's
No.
not the case. So it's another.
Because
It's
it's
just another misuse of one of these terms that people think, oh, well, this is better. Like they want to convince you that the economy is fine. How can it be fine? I'm living in it. But you look at the news and they're mouthpieces for the government,
right.
just like religion and all them all working together. Everything's
Hmm.
fine. How's it fine? And
Right.
people living, like I thought about getting a van and doing that van life. Remember I was telling you about I wanted to live
Uh-huh.
in a van, and I thought about why the hell I want to live in a van. That's living in a van down by the river. You know what I mean? I said I don't
Right.
want to live in a van, but they tried to glamorize it.
Yes.
They get on
Yes.
YouTube and they try to promote it like, oh, this is beautiful, or a tiny house. A tiny
Nope.
house is really what you want. You
Right.
don't
It's
want a
not
big house. You
good
want a
now.
tiny house. And you're like, I think I want a tiny house. No, you don't.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
You don't want to pass gas and leave the room and walk back into it.
Ah. Yeah, I don't know that. I love my tiny house. I love my tiny
Well, I'm
house.
just saying, but that ain't the
Yeah.
only property you have. Come on now, we
Right,
know
right, right.
you have
Yes,
another plan here, and if it's
yes.
part of your plan, I'm talking about as
Mm-hmm.
people primary residence.
Residence. Hmm.
They gonna get into a van, and I'm
Right.
gonna travel, and I'm gonna do this in a van, and one flat tire, your whole home is crippled. One flat tire, one engine problem, you homeless. You
That,
homeless.
that's crazy.
Your whole home homeless. Just with one engine problem.
Oh,
One
home.
accident, you got nothing. Come on, man. Nah, no, no.
So,
But
what
this is
do
the
you
world
think?
that tries to convince you of things.
Right. So, what do you think that they really arguing about? As far as going back and forth, because everybody knows that the economy is terrible right now. Everybody knows that everything is expensive. Everybody knows that even the younger generation, I feel like they know that they cannot do this by themselves. What is the real argument? What do you
They
think the real argument is
expectations. They don't want to give up. Neither side wants to
for
give up on
themselves?
these unrealistic expectations. A
So
lot
they
of women,
selfish.
uh-huh.
So you're saying that they're selfish? They don't want to help each
Yes,
other?
yes, they're very selfish. They're very selfish, right? A lot of
Hmm.
women, they looking for a man, from what I hear on social media, they want a man making, 300,000, 4 million, whatever.
I don't know no black man that made that kind of money. I'm
And you
sorry.
say and you say, have you ever, do you know anybody like that? No.
No,
Do you run into them? Are you moving in their circles? No. But that's what they want.
that's
That's
not even
unrealistic.
realistic.
And then they say
Yes.
women are delusional, but men are delusional too. Because like I
Mhm.
said earlier, they want the woman to contribute financially, but also to be traditional and submissive.
But that was a question for me. That always kind of bothered me.
Nicole said 5 million a year. Go ahead.
5 million a year, girls. ain't nobody, ain't no black man making that. Ain't too much. That's not
I don't
happening.
want
I'm
a
just
man
saying.
that
That's
makes
not
5 million a year, and I'm gonna stand on that.
happening.
I'm not gonna settle. I'm not gonna settle.
So I lost my whole train of
What were you gonna say?
thought. So what I'm
Oh,
saying is most men not making that. Okay, that's not even realistic. Okay, that's not gonna happen. So I'm not sure where they're getting this whole idea of these men need to make this kind of money when I know doggone well that's not even possible. And not too many. You count what do they say is the 1% of black men or 1% of men, period. It says the real argument is that money. Oh, yes, yes, yeah, that too. Parenting. I think parenting has a lot to do with it too, because just like we had talked about the other day, a lot of these women, I have to speak on the women perspective because I don't know about the men, but on the women perspective, I feel like some of these young girls have came from a family, father, mother, that have really spoiled them and ruined them, and they think that they think they have been told this is the type of man that you need in your life or want in your life when it doesn't even exist because of the economy that we live in. And I mean, and let's be real, it's not too many black men that make that kind of money.
I was
Again,
listening to this minister on TV, and he kept saying he's a black minister, one of these little small
entitlement.
TV
That's right.
stations, and he kept saying, "Niggas don't think right." And I said
Entitlement.
that to say
Right.
because I watched this guy, and the
Hmm.
same thing that he rants on and on about women, and he made his channel's huge, and he makes
Right.
a lot of money, and
Right.
he's putting that same image in his daughter of
I
those
know who you're talking about.
expectations. And it's
Right.
hilarious because he keeps talking about how women have unreasonable expectation, because just like you said, their fathers have put this in there. And then when they
Hmm.
go out onto the dating, the father's like, don't get nobody, don't treat you as good as your dad did. Right. And so he's creating the same
Hmm.
problem. And that's a
Hmm.
lot in our culture. We actually create the problem we try to solve.
Right.
We actually are creating it. It's like you
Hmm.
you you dipping water out, and you got a brother over there. He's screwing holes in the boat.
But see, and that's what I'm saying. And then the fathers, the mothers, or whoever, they're giving, this entitlement, and all of that. But the thing about it is, they're that father is 50, 60 years old. They're 20. You're not making that kind of money off of the back, and you're telling your daughter or your son, that this person should be making XYZ or whatever. It takes time and years to build that. But you're
Well,
telling your 20-year-old daughter to go out there and look for a man and make the money that you made. That's not even realistic.
well, there's like two options there. It was the
Uh-huh.
way that was meant to happen, and the way
Mm-hmm.
it could happen. Right, a
Mm-hmm.
younger girl who has a lot of value in herself could offer that to an older man who was more established, right? But
Mm-hmm.
our society frowns on that. They like, you grooming, don't do that, don't do that. But where it used to happen though was the father had a dowry that he purchased the woman with for his son. You know what I mean? He my father would have the money, and he will
Mm-hmm.
find a suitable
Correct.
wife for me, and he will pay for that with his
Mm-hmm.
establishment, not mine, because I'm still building my fortune, and I'm gonna go
Correct.
after him. You see what I'm saying? So the money
Right.
was paid out because that's the only thing you're supposed to be. You when you go and date and you get involved with someone, you're supposed to be stable. You're supposed to have something going on in your life. And a 20 year
Already.
old and a 20-year-old don't have that. A 25
Exactly.
year old don't have that. But we want them to stick together. The 25 and 25 female and woman to be and man to be together, even though the
Right.
man cannot sustain her at her highest value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The way it would have happened was his father would
Right.
sustain them at her highest value.
Right.
And so since our society is so upside down, topsy turvy, right is wrong, that's a she, that's a they, whatever they got going on that we keep swallowing
Okay.
and being confused by, as
Right.
opposed to looking for how did it traditionally worked, what
Mm-hmm.
happens in nature, and how we can model that, because that's the direction. God, good orderly direction. That's what God to me stands for, good orderly direction. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
way it should have been. All right. But now
Even
we got these newfangled
But what do
ways.
you what do you think about now? Because that was about when we was growing up, when we was in our 20s, that we followed this, the structure of God and how it would, you know, how it was designed for a man and a woman in that day and time. Even though we kind of got away from it here and there, but we still, that was our foundation, right? And
Right.
so how do you think these young people get back to that?
Oh, ain't no hope for them. We can just no. They cooked. They are cooked. It's
Okay.
over. It's a done. There is no help. There is
But
no help, right? Because look
it
at
can.
it, right? Look at this, right? I consider God the acronym good orderly direction, right? God may mean different things to different people. Let's just say whatever it means to you. There was a
Right.
time where we follow God, Now we live in a
Correct.
world where God follows us. You understand what I'm saying? We used to
Mm-hmm.
obey and try to live
Yeah.
accordingly, but
Right.
now
Right.
we
Right.
want the rules to fit our lifestyle
Oh,
and
okay.
our
Okay.
choices. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So where we
Mm-hmm.
used to follow God, now God follows us in our craziness and how we want to be. We don't try to be better. Come as you are. We gonna be forgiven. Even in spiritual work, we said do better, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, hold space for yourself. Don't judge yourself, but do better.
Better.
You got religions now that don't even require that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be forgiven, you can go do it again. You can be forgiven, you can do it again. Whatever you did Saturday night, come in Sunday, and then you can finish it off next Saturday. There's
Right.
no change in it. So unless people are really willing to make a commitment in changing, I don't see because the it's like the world has, especially black community, has
Mm-hmm.
the people by a chokehold. It has them
Why you
by a
say that?
chokehold. Why do you think you need to have, and let's just say the iPhone? Why do you think I went in and I bought my phone and I'm looking, he like, this phone 1,500, this one 2,000. I said, how much is that? He like, he like, that one's 250. I'm like, okay, I want that one. Why would I want the other one? He said, well, that one don't do everything it needs to do. And it don't. But I said, do it make calls? He like, yeah, it make calls. Well, that's all I need a phone to do is make a call. And we found out my phone is a better camera than it is a
Right.
phone.
Yes. Right.
It's a
Exactly.
hell of a camera. It's a crappy phone.
Oh,
But like
but Lord,
Nicole's right. You know, you won't. The Jordans have never that shoe style has never changed. It is the
no.
same style. The only changing is the price of it going up and up and up, and people. So when they got you by a chokehold,
Right.
you know, I used to say when you see a fool, you know, kick them twice. You know, Mary said, and they do, Mary. They
Yeah.
try to normalize dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, when we used to follow God, now God follows us, right? And we talking about, well, he got to make accommodations for me and who I am, you know, as opposed
Yeah.
to you trying to be better. They try to
Right.
normalize. That's why I don't understand. You can't tell me nothing about no pronouns. I wasn't good with pronouns in school. I failed pronouns in school, and I know I can't understand them now. I don't know when to use them or when not to use them. So that the world wants to
Right.
normalize this craziness, you know,
Exactly.
and then
That's
tell
right.
you
It's
crazy.
right.
How they gonna tell
Because you're
you
not
the one
going along
crazy?
with it. Right.
You know, you're never gonna convince me I'm crazy because what you don't know, it doesn't even make any logical sense
Right.
to what they're talking about. And so when they stop and they realize that they don't have to be what the world wants them to be, everybody says they're unique and they follow in just whatever the world tells them to follow. Like we talked about, and we're gonna go there. We talked about BBLs, right? Black
Right.
women normally had
You did.
decent shapes. They already had decent shape. They were already the cream of the crop. Some of them had a little more bigger, some were a little bit small, but they all look good. They all look
Right.
good. They let the world convince them, right, that they
Mm-hmm.
need to get a BBL on top of already their God-given butt. And you know what I mean? Women have died from that,
Right.
you
Yes.
know?
That's yeah. Yes.
You know?
That's what.
Yes, why is that an application? I don't mess with them jobs. Yeah.
Yes, I seen that. I'm like, okay, let me tell you, this is a story for me because
Go
I
ahead.
was so I'm filling out a piece of I'm filling out some documentations and everything, and so I'm like, it's had so many pronouns on there. I was like, well, where am I? Because I thought I was a female. They
Where
had
am I at?
her, she. I said, well, what? Where is just female? I was like, you know what? I don't even know what to put no more because they got a whole list of stuff. I just thought I was a woman. I don't know what all this foolishness is. It's crazy.
Nico said, my butt already makes my back hurt. I'm good. My thing is, how somebody gonna convince you wrong and
Right,
then go try to be like you, and then you go copy them.
right. because
That's
we
just,
already naturally, we're black women, we're already naturally curvy and beautiful. We don't need all of that.
and
We don't
I
need
don't get
any
it.
enhancements. We don't.
And
We're
we,
beautiful.
and we can talk about the men. Why would you go buy a car that totally depreciates as soon as you drive it off the market, and your finance is worth more than what the car is worth now, and you done had a new car 2 days, but the financing and the blue book value are not matching up?
And he ain't
That
got nowhere
is,
to live.
we gonna you have to reject the world. You have to
Right.
reject the
Yeah.
world, and stand on your own 10 toes down, because they're gonna tell you insane. Like people say, well, Baba, that's old time thinking. Well, your new time thinking ain't working for nobody. That's old time thinking. Yeah, but I don't see no benefit to your new time thinking.
Right.
Dysfunctional families, relationships broken up, right? We swallow everything hook, line, and sinker, right? We can't get along with each other. There was not
Yeah.
always a time, getting back to our topic, there was not
Yeah.
always black men and women got along.
Yeah. They made it work. I'm not gonna
They
say we
got along.
always got
Just think about
along,
it.
but I think they
1960s,
made it work.
1970s, even the
Mhm.
80s, 90s.
Mhm.
You didn't hear all this dysfunctional.
Not out loud. We kept
I
it
mean,
quiet.
they
We was discreet.
honestly,
We wasn't out loud
I'm going.
in
I
the
didn't
face.
hear women. I didn't hear men complaining about women like that. They were like, "Oh, you know
No.
how they are. They know how.
No.
Let me get home. You know she
No.
gonna be tripping. You know
Mm.
that it wasn't this disrespect and this animosity. It
Yes.
was just they got along. Where did all this come from? It's a plan to keep us disorganized.
Mhm.
It's actually a plan.
Mm. Well, I just know that it is a lot of dysfunction, and it's not getting our community where it needs to be. As far as family life, and I can't say I'm not going to say that the relationships in the Black community was perfect, but I'm going to say we did figure out a way to get along, and it wasn't
Well,
any argument going back and forth. And we had, back in the day, we had morals and values, and there's certain things that you just did not do. You didn't do.
Well, I actually think it's the next. It's like the crack epidemic. It's like the welfare system, the crack epidemic, and whatever else came after that. It's always something that we are
Mm-hmm.
overly affected by more than any other group of people. And I just don't
Right.
know why we are so susceptible to everything out here. You know what I mean? To why do we always try to model ourselves? I guarantee, and I'm gonna just say this: if we had the same group of people
Mm-hmm.
that live now, if they existed during slavery times, we would still be slaves.
Mm.
We would still, if we had the same group of people
Mm-hmm.
that are whatever generation they are, and they didn't have the backbone and the strength and the determination, we would
Mm-hmm.
still be going along and trying to make picking cotton look cool.
Mm. Nobody took.
We have a whole bandana turned to the side. Whatever
Mm-mm.
whatever they used to wear back picking cotton, we'll try to act like that's the new style. We're the only people that try to act like ghetto is a style. Like that. That's the way we rock. How they were going after Royal Bluff. Remember I was telling you about Royal Bluff?
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know about Royal Bluff. I don't know if you know about it,
I
Nicole or
know.
Mary.
Yeah, we talked about the Royal Bluff brand. Yes. Say,
Well, the thing is that you got to understand that they going after them because they say that's not black. Holding yourself to a standard, actually, wanting to be something better in life, right? Than what people tell you are. Oh, that's not
right.
black. That's not black. Like black is a monolith. Like it's only one type of black, and it's always us constantly working against us.
Mm-hmm.
We do the
Mm-hmm.
work of everything outside of us. That's why they don't have to actually do anything. Is because there's any forces that are affecting our growth and our elevation, we tend to cling to that, and we're gonna pull each other down. I can't
Mm-hmm.
believe they were arguing about that.
Yeah, that's and I did look at the line. It's the new for the people that haven't seen it yet. It's the new Ralph Lauren line,
Yeah, it's
and
preppy.
it's a preppy line. And he chose to, correct me if I'm wrong, he chose to pick Spelman College students to do it,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and Morehouse
and
students.
and the Morehouse students. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He wanted to make that connection because
Mm,
I didn't know Royal Bluffs, Oak Bluffs was
Oaks.
was a resort for black people in the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
All
It
those
was.
people that were in movements and protested and King and all of them went up there to vacation. And it's in Martha Vineyard. You guys need to see that. And it seemed like anything good, anything uplifting, anything high elevation, we tend to have a tendency to want to reject.
Yeah, some of the black people rejected and said that that's not, black people's style, and that's not how we dress and all of that stuff. And this dress was, I guess you can say, 60s, 70s type style of dressing, and a lot of people was pushing back on it. So yeah,
Which is
and it was
strange
our
because
people.
the look reminded me of Preppy, and Preppy when I was in school, Preppy was a group, a code a type of style that a lot of people I knew
Hmm.
emulated to be wealthy.
Hmm. Hmm.
They were emulating wealthy blacks with the preppy look, and he'd
Right.
already just he. That's all he did was recapture that, and
All
I
he
can't
did.
believe that there are black people that say FUBU is our style. FUBU ain't never been my style. It's the foolishness. It's foolishness.
Hmm.
But we got way off subject. But we
Yeah, we
did have a
did.
good discussion. I wanted to bring it back to
We did. We went way left, way left.
well, bring it back
But
to what you do and how you offer at least one point. If you guys haven't seen in the beginning, we were looking at the one point of where we can kind of ease the tensions between black men and black women of a certain age, and as black women go through another transition. I got to say, boy, y'all guys bodies. Woo,
don't.
I only had to worry about puberty. You guys got to worry every 2 or 3 years. Y'all bodies doing something.
Yeah, we go through all kind of stages in
What is
life,
it?
and it's,
Puberty,
yes,
pregnancy,
yes,
menopause.
yes,
Woo.
and perimenopause and then menopause.
What's
Yeah.
perimenopause?
Perimenopause is the first stages of your body changing, going into right menopause. No joke, but perimenopause is just the symptoms and signs that you go through before you go through menopause. And menopause is the stopping of the reproductive system, if I made any sense. So yeah, so we are at the first stages of it. For my ladies that are going through it, we are at the first stages, and it's life changing. It really is.
Well, I know I have a lot of men that follow me in the Conscious Collective, and so if you do have someone you care about and that you are having some difficulty understanding, you need to tap into what Dominique is working with. Her
Yeah.
link is in the description.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely let me get it back up here. All right. She has a new channel. She's going to be discussing all things wellness with her wellness warriors. Join her channel, subscribe to her channel. And to my men out there, it can give you some insight too. It can be a
Yes, it
very educating aspect from you if you're tired of arguing and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. All of a sudden in your peaceful house, you know, say, baby, I found this teeth for you, you know.
right.
But make sure she in a
Yep.
good mood before you say that, because she gonna say, "I don't need no damn teeth." So make sure you get in a good mood and say, "Look, I found this teeth for you. I think it tastes really good."
Yes,
You
it's,
know,
it's it's not bad.
yeah.
It's pretty good. What you think, Nicole?
I think my brothers they could be like, yeah, "Hey, make this tea for me." and then make sure she gets some of it, and then
Hmm.
you can ease that dysfunction in your household. So
Yes.
definitely follow and support Dominique's new channel. She's going to be talking a lot about wellness and health and
Hmm.
healing and things along those lines. So
Yes.
I wanted to bring her on and have a deep discussion. I don't know if this went well or not. We'll look at the numbers and see
Okay.
if we can. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. So Nicole said it definitely helps. It does. You have to do it enough, but it definitely helps. It reduces the signs and symptoms of those hot flashes and just different symptoms that you go through during perimenopausal. Yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
I'm telling the men out there, don't just assume her channel's for women. It can give you some insight,
Yes.
on women, and give you opportunity. Like I said earlier, everything in your head, my brothers, you don't have to say out loud. You can keep things in your head. That's why they start in your head, and you don't have to you can avoid a lot of situations by keeping things to yourself. And so, if you really want to have an insight, Dominique is going to be talking
Yes.
about women's health and wellness, and there's some products that you might want to say, hey, baby, sit down here and watch this with me. She making a whole lot of good sense here,
Yeah.
and she may, you may turn her on to
Right.
something that's going to make your life better. Yes, because if you love
Right.
them and
Yeah.
you
Make
want to
your
stick
life.
with them, yeah, you want just like
Yeah.
if you're with them through pregnancy, this is just another part of life to go along with the journey with. So definitely
Yeah.
click on that link and blow her page up. And if you guys enjoy it, leave in the comments to bring her back on. We can have some more discussions. We got a lot of things we can talk about. And so, Dominic, do you have any final words or anything you want to say?
Yes, I do. I'm gonna put my. I don't know if you put my link, but anyway, it's um, feminine health and
I
wellness.
already
Hold on,
linked. I did
guys.
link you. I linked you in the
Oh,
bio.
you did link me. Oh, you
You in the
did. Okay.
description.
Okay. Cool. Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
So,
Where you trying to link yourself in the comments?
yeah, yeah. I didn't know you had link.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of new to
Yeah, I put your link. It should be. I'll check to make sure, but it's in the
StreamYard.
description. I
Uh
just
huh.
copied the old one over to this new one. And
Okay.
so,
Cool.
do you anything else you want to say?
Yes, I just thank you guys for watching or whatever, just tap in, to my channel. I'm going to be talking about, like he said before, it's not just things that's all related to women, but I will be giving some health tips and for men as well. Thank you so much for joining, Mary, Nicole, and Linda. So yeah, it's not going to be all about even though it says feminine health and wellness, it is going to be some good tips on there for men as well. If you go and tap in and tune into my channel, you're going to see a lot of home remedies that can be used by male or female, and just some good overall information about health and just healthier lifestyle. That's pretty much it. Yes.
All right, Dominique, it has been a pleasure talking to you.
It
We done
have.
ran the whole
I had
board.
fun.
You know how I do. I want to talk about a lot of things that's all related to me. If you guys enjoy, please like and subscribe. This video will also be on her channel. Become a member of her channel. Support her channel growing, and that it's going to help her help other people. So I truly thank you, Mary, for being part of this. Nicole,
Thank
it's always a joy to have you part of our discussion. Thank you for bringing your perspective. Anyone else that did not comment, I truly appreciate you guys and thank you very much. And again, subscribe, like the video, share the
you.
video, and then we're going to keep helping each other grow. I want to wish everyone love and light in their journey. God in mind, God in mouth, and God in my heart. Love and light in you guys' journeys.
All right. Bye for now.